Yeah, I'm going to speak for Prabhupada. Huh? 4 minutes? Oh. I think I can get it. Don't worry. Such a much. Yeah. On this wonderful day of the appearance of Srila Prabhupada and Nandosa, I always feel like I can't be satisfied because I can't glorify the person that has taken me out of this material world. Hopefully. So I hope I can satisfy him today. There's always an invocation. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. That is actually in the translation of Srila Prabhupada of the 1,000 names of Vishnu, Vishnu Sahasranam. But the translation given by the same person, Baladeva Vidyabhushan, Vasudev means Vishnu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But Srila Prabhupada, he writes, let us invoke auspiciousness by offering our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of all divine opulences. So then, Shri Krishna, who is the son of Vasudeva. For us that are not so much feeling for translations and Shastra, doesn't seem like much. But after Srila Prabhupada put that out, one of the prominent persons of Sri Sampradaya, who was a great follower of Baladeva Bhushan, said, I've taken his complete translation and I've done the job of taking out Godhead. In other words, he wanted Vasudeva to be Vishnu. He did not want Vasudeva to be, but it's correct. The whole translation is correct. So, in this way, we're like amazed, Prabhupada, even in the highest scholarly way, is declaring that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for the most difficult people, the most difficult, but still he's not like attacking them. He's just bringing it to their attention. Okay? Baladeva Vidyabhushan, yes, he's our Gaudiya Acharya, Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya. But Baladeva Vidyabhushan, he had already been translating, preaching, had many disciples, and even to my surprise, he had a full temple in Jaipur. Sri Sampradaya, full temple of Baladeva Vidyabhushan, where he had his disciples. But now, he defends Gaudiya Sampradaya in Jayapur. Bhaktivedanta Bhushan did not leave his disciples, but he knew how to take care of them in the mood of Sri Sampradaya. And also, he could be within our Gaudiya Sampradaya, considered the Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya. That little intricate thing, it just brings so much feeling for how Srila Prabhupada approaches everything. And with hardly any of our understanding, you know. He accepted that, yes, Bhaktivedanta Bhushan is your Vedanta Acharya, but also he's our Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya. And they can keep it in balance, you know, because he didn't give up his temples, he didn't give up his devotees. Whereas ourselves, with the convictions, mine, and the sectarian viewpoints, it's very difficult for us to be able to even understand such a thing. And also, one point there is whenever a Bij mantra, Om, Klim, Shrim, whenever it is done, you know, pronounced, then you have to be qualified. You must be Brahman, qualified Brahman, to be able to say these mantras. But Bhaktisiddhanta Srila Prabhupada, he said, if the word Namaha is there, Om Namo, Namaha is there. If Namaha is there, then you're fully protected. So that like brings it back into our realm that I can chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And myself, when I first came in association with the devotees and everything, I was a Bhakta. I was Bhakta Wali. And that went on for quite a while. In 1969, I came in contact with the devotees, and 1972, I was able to become active and still not initiated. Yet, I was given a bus, like the Radha Damodar bus. And I had about 6 brahmacharis in the Radha Damodar bus. And I drove that bus all the way to New Vrindavan for the 1972 Srila Prabhupada Festival up on the hill. And Prabhupada was having us hand out Daivi Vashan Dhamma. We were going to all the universities, we were going to every place, and we were bringing them to New Vrindavan so that they could hear Srila Prabhupada. But I had to do all the duties. We only had a Jadharani picture of Panchatattva, but here was Bhakta Wali having to do the offerings, having to do everything, you know. The situation was like that. Yes. Not until 1972, at the end of 1972, did I even get initiated. And another innovation, you can use the word, innovation of Srila Prabhupada, was that he delegated his powers. Carefully, but he delegated his powers. I did not see Srila Prabhupada. I did not get personally my name from Srila Prabhupada. Rupanuga, my GBC, went, and Prabhupada said. I want this person to have this name. And then he came back, and in Miami he found me, and he gives me, initiation, in a Harinam initiation. From 1972 until 1974, there was no way to get Brahman initiation, no way of me ever thinking of Brahman initiation. We were really, having so much Harinam, Sankirtan, taking books. We were Caribbean island jumpers. We were going to Jamaica and Kingston. Then we'd jump over to Puerto Rico. And we were established, and that's all we were. We were just maybe Harinam, initiated devotees. Not Brahman, just Harinam. And we were carrying this message from one country to the next country. There's so many things that happened, but then, without even wanting to, without even a desire, I could see that I was able to do so many things. In New Vrindavan in 1972, I was the one taking care of Radha Damodar. I'm not even initiated. But the Radha Damodar people are bus people, and I'm a bus person. So here I am, worshiping. So much time and place Prabhupada had. He was perfect, just perfect. And then one other thing is, after jumping from one country to the next and deported from Puerto Rico and then, no, not Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, thrown out of Santo Domingo, then going to Costa Rica, which is a nice country, everybody's peaceful, 4 times deported. Because they were Costa Rica. Costa Rica is very Catholic. So it was in and out. But still doing worship and everything. Then 8 days in jail in Panama. 8 days in jail, under arrest about something that didn't even exist. And they released me from the jail because they didn't know that my family is Castrillon and my family's big in Panama. And I didn't tell them. I sat there in jail 8 days, You can chant all your rounds, you can do everything, wash your clothes, and it's no big deal. But after 8 days, one Indian man found out, because the Indians found out I was in jail, and they were sending me prasadam. So I had prasadam, I had a place to sleep, there was a nice temperature, no problem. So then, after 8 days, my cousin, Castrillon, but his name is Captain Castrillon. He was the driver of Noriega, General Noriega's jet airplane. He comes into the jail. I'll go quick. He comes into the jail, and I'm sitting there. I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm getting you out of here." And I said, "Oh, really? Okay, no problem." And I'll tell you really quick. The reason why I was in jail is because I went up to the judge, the head judge of juvenile court, and I found her with 2 kids that they were going to sell. And I knew the 2 kids, little kids like this, and I yelled up a storm right there in front of her with the kids, just crying, and she's grabbing them and they're going to sell them. I knew about child transportation, 1974. So of course she got mad. And she sent her people after me to throw me in jail. So right after that, my cousin gets me out of jail, And they tell me not to talk. They say, Shonika, please, don't talk, don't say anything, just come with us. So then they put me on an airplane. And I said, all right, not an airplane, go ahead. And I flew into El Paso. Now, I'm not having too much association with Srila Prabhupada, but I'm doing some work for him. And I knew he was with us all the time. So when I arrive at my house, my mother says, oh, I want to go see your sister in San Francisco. And I says, okay, I'll drive the car. And I didn't know that there was a Rath Yatra. Wait a minute, quick. I didn't know there was a Rath Yatra. So I said, okay, I'll go with you, and I'll drive you. So I let them out for the hotel, and I went over to the ISKCON temple. And I said, hey, I got a good car. I got this, that, and the other. You need any help? He says, yeah, Prabhupada's coming out for the Rath Yatra. I said, what? He says, yeah, Prabhupada has to do the Rath Yatra tomorrow, and we need to take the plates of the deities up to the site at such and such a time. And they just had me on call. I had to run. They forgot to put Prabhupada's water cup on Subhadra's Rath Yatra. So I had to run his water cup from Mission, from Mission Boulevard, all the way to Srila Prabhupada's cart, give him his water. I was just so engaged. Okay, I'm not exchanging philosophy with Srila Prabhupada, but such merciful service. And of course, after the Rath Yatra, I'm sitting with Hridayananda Maharaj, Satsarup Maharaj, and all of them, and all of a sudden, they tell me, Shonika, you're supposed to be Brahmin. I said, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be Brahmin? He says, yeah, we've sent you 4 letters. And they all went to countries that you had left. I said, well, I got deported from them. And he says, now we got to put it all together, and Srila Prabhupada wants to give you Brahmin initiation for the last 2 years. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. Now I'm going to have my Brahmin thread. And of course, Srila Prabhupada gave me my Brahmin thread around my neck. So sorry to take so much time. Thank you very much.